Hey everyone, and welcome to World Introvert Day 2023. I'm joined by two of our absolutely amazing coaches, Madhurima Sapati and Coach Joyceloy Kyompire, and also our amazing program director, Adele Jacobs. Now, before I hand it over to these three amazing humans, I just want to give you a bit of an overview about the purpose of today. So today is World Introvert Day. That means we need to go out, we need to appreciate the introverts of the world. Us extroverts, I'm an extrovert. If you're an extrovert here, drop in the comments box. Let us know if you're an introvert or an extrovert so we know who's tuned in. But extroverts tend to get in that spotlight. They're talking, they take the space. They're always out there. People know what extroverts do, and you've probably heard a lot about them. So today it's taking the focus off extroverts and it's putting introverts into the spotlight. And if you don't know what an introvert or an extrovert is, if you don't know whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, we've got a gift that we're going to give you at the end of this session, which I'll share with you with more information at the end. And I just want to share, in terms of an introvert extroversion, it's our preference. It's where we get our energy from. Do we prefer to get our energy being alone in our own time? Or do we prefer to get our energy in environments around people and engaging? And with that being said, I'm going to pass you over to the amazing Adele, and we'll allow Adele to introduce herself and run with this session. Thank you, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adele, the program director at Coaching Minds, and I'm also the supervisor in the coaching certification program. And today I'm joined by Joyceloy and Madhurima, as Paul has already said. I'm going to give them a brief time to introduce themselves, and then we're going to kick it off and start the discussion.
Amazing. Let's go.
All right, so I'll do the introduction first. Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Joyceloy Kyompire. I'm Dare to Blow coach, confidence coach, basically. I help you to become more of yourself so that you know that you have potential, so that you can live a more meaningful life. I'm part of the Coaching Minds, and I'm super excited to be part of the panel today to talk about what it means to be an introvert. Back to you, Madhurima.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adele, for the wonderful introduction, as well as Paul. A very brief introduction about me is I'm Madhurima Sapati, a Freedom Soul Coach, and I help passionate, ambitious dreamers manage their stress and burnout so that they can go out there and manifest their dreams, work on their dreams without their own selves holding them back. That's a very brief gist of what I do, but it can go on and divert us from the topic of introversion. So, Adele, take the floor.
And welcome to everyone once again. If you've joined a little bit late or if you're watching the replay, please engage in the comments and tell us, like Paul said, are you an introvert or are you extrovert? Just share with us. But today we are here to celebrate introverted people. And I want to kick her off so we can start to get to know introverted people a little bit better. Joyceloy, I'm going to come to you first. Are introverts confident people?
All right. So thank you, Adele. So in my opinion, introverts are confident. The thing about introverts is sometimes it's just about themselves, giving themselves time to decompress and reflect. I'm an introvert, but also an extrovert. So most people call me ambivert. I'll also talk about that later. So when you're with other people, when an introvert is with other people, they prefer to get to know you better so that they don't get brain loaded, which doesn't happen with extroverts. So introverts take their time to get to know you because they don't want to get overloaded with too much information. So they take their time so that they get to know who you are. And the other thing about them is they're so creative. So they want to get deep insights of who you are before they get to know you. So most people look at them and they're like, that person is shy or that person is not confident because they don't engage too much. The thing is, they just want to get to know you better before they get to express who they are. Back to you, Adele.
Marima, what is your view? Are they confident people? How do you view it?
Yeah, I believe that they are definitely extremely confident. The entire scenario comes into play as to who they are interacting with, right? So, for example, or what they personally believe as well. For a really long time, I have been an introvert all my life. And for a really long time, I was like, I can't go out there and I can't speak. Right, because what are people going to think? How can I go out there? What can I do? So there was that aspect of it, and a lot of it kind of falls down into our mindset. However, when I transitioned into coaching, when I fell into this space and I fell in love with this space, I was like, this is my spot. Like, I can confidently speak up because I know that this is a safe space to speak up. So, for me personally, as an introvert, I believe that number one, it's about the mindset, and number two, it's about where exactly are we? Who are we interacting with? Kind of piggy riding back on what Joy said. It's a lot about, who are you interacting with? What space are you in? What topics are you speaking about? If it is a topic that I don't necessarily resonate with, I probably won't be as in tune and as confident as an extrovert probably would be in going out there and still continuing that conversation. I'd be like, well, I don't know much about this. I'm going to step back. I'm going to be the one who's observing. I'm going to be the one who's looking out and understanding what the other person is trying to say. So, yeah.
If I can just add to what Joyce Aloy and Marima shared, is we might think an introverted person is not confident because they are quietish, but they take that time to observe. And that is where it comes in. They observe. And when you get to the topics that they really are into, they are the most confident people that we get because they've got the knowledge and they've got that self-esteem, and they really go into detail into what they do know. And for me, they are very confident people. And I think it's often a misunderstanding that we have. And I'm going to lead this nicely into our next question, which is, are introverts unfriendly people?
Okay, so I'll go fast. Introverts are unfriendly. And I'll explain my point, why I would say introverts are unfriendly. So the one thing about introverts, and that applies to myself actually when I'm making friends, is I don't like small talk. And introverts do not like small talks. I'm not into large group friends. I like to know someone so that I feel that I'm real to them and I feel that I'm connected to them. So the controvert that I was talking about is they are friendly, but they want to get to know you deep. They want to get to know who you are so that they know that you are a real friend and they are real friends to you. Whereas when you look at the other side, the extroverts, they're okay with groups, like group friends. They can have a group of 5 friends, but introverts prefer to have small groups friends because they prefer real connections rather than just having friends with small talks and sometimes meaningless. So introverts are good. They are good at making friends, but they always select because they want someone who can connect well with them and they can connect well with them. So they are unfriendly when it comes to groups because they are not too much talkers, and they are friendly when it comes to getting to know the person and they really know that this is my friend and this is my friend. Back to you, Adele.
But Marima, your viewpoint on this.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what Joy said. I feel like introverts are friendly people, once again, depending on who they're friends with. So it depends on who exactly, like, what does friendship mean to that person, right? Like, does friendship mean always being present, or does friendship mean having proper boundaries, having proper, like, a lot of times extroverts, or there is this myth around extrovertism, right? Like, they are always present. And so when, as an introvert, I'm out there and I'm like, yo, I can only talk to you for, like, I'll send you messages, but know that I hold you in my heart, right? I might show up online, I might do a call with you once in a blue moon, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a bad friend of yours. That just means that I prefer texting. I prefer connecting with you once in a while rather than always being present. Whereas with extroverts, there is that option of, well, I am always there, right? So there is that one aspect, I believe, and it also kind of falls down on the fact that I prefer as a person to have in-depth conversations. I prefer to have a deep connection with the person that I'm connecting with. So if a person out there is having once again a conversation that I'm not resonating with, that I don't find interesting, or that I am not connecting with that person, I will fall back, right? And it's not something about them, it's about me personally, that I am not connecting. I know this sounds like a really bad breakup line, but it's just about who are the people that I resonate with, who are the people that I would like to spend time with, because I need to understand, is me spending time with this person, will I have to exert extra energy to understand them, to understand where they are coming from, to be compassionate to their viewpoint, versus me, if I'm connecting with someone who is on the same wavelength as me, I am much more in a easier mind space to connect with them. And so what it can look to the world out there is I am being more friendly to this person as opposed to the other person, right? So I feel like introverts can be friendly depending on who they are in connection with. Like, you, Adele, know this, and Paul as well knows this, that I can go on and on. Like, I am a chatterbox because I connect with you guys. I am on a similar wavelength as you guys. So it kind of falls down as to who we resonate with, and if we resonate with them, we are friendly, we are unstoppable when it comes to being the best friend out there.
But Marima, I just want to throw this back to you based on what you were saying. You're saying they're friendly towards the people that they're close to and that they resonate with. But that in general, does that make them unfriendly and unapproachable? For me, I see that they are friendly people. It is our awareness and our assumptions that we make that they are not unfriendly. I just want to delve a little bit deeper into that point, that in general they're not unfriendly. They are actually friendly people. We just need to take the time to get to know them, whether we resonate them or not.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. And again, it comes back to the mindset or the understanding of what a friendship, being a friend means. What does friendship mean to the person on both sides of the parties, right? And as we were mentioning earlier, like, we are extremely observant people, so we take time to understand the person in front of us. And so I feel like, if our understanding of friendship is, I meet this person and I am their friend the very next second, that if that is your understanding of friendship, then maybe we are not friendly people. If, however, our understanding is, oh, I would like to have deep, meaningful connections with this person that I'm having a conversation with, then I am a friendly person. So again, it boils down to how we as individuals view friendship, and do we, like you said, Adele, how much time do we actually sit down and take the time to actually understand each other, understand the person in front of us. So yeah.
Joyceloy, I also want to come to you. Let's take it not from a friendship perspective, but work colleagues or people that you need to interact with on a social level, work-wise. Are you seeing them as unfriendly, or are they actually friendly people? Is it our own limitations that's making us say that they are actually unfriendly?
So the thing about me is, I'll give an example of myself, and I'm glad you used the colleague part, is when I'm interacting with my colleagues, I don't limit myself. I just get to know who they are, because just like I said, as an introvert part of me, I love real meaningful relationships and friendships. So by the time I call you my friend, that means you are my friend. I can count on you. I can have meaningful conversations with you, and we can have deep conversations together. But I can't call someone a friend if we are not at that level together, because I'm not a small talk person. I don't like small talks at all. And I think somehow, somewhere, I may also be a chatterbox. But when it comes to how I be a chatterbox, it's only with people that I'm having deep conversations with, or people that know me, that know the real me. I don't do that with just anyone. It's the people that get to know who I am exactly. So back to the point that I made before, introverts are friendly. They're just unfriendly when it comes to situations where they have to talk too much, where they have to make small talks and unnecessary conversations. But the thing about them is they're super friendly. You just have to get to know who they are. I hope I answered you, Adele.
No, you definitely did answer the question. I just wanted to broaden it a little bit away from friendship and bring it into a bigger context. And that nicely leads me to what you've shared now about colleagues and getting to know people. What is your feeling? What do you think? Does introverts make good leaders?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Introverts make good leaders. Not even good leaders, but amazing leaders. And I have a few reasons why I would say that. My first reason is by nature, introverts are calm and collected. And who doesn't want to be around someone who is calm and collected rather than being around someone who is anxious? So when you are calm and collected, everyone knows that whatever you're going to say is going to come from a reasonable and calm place. You're always collected and you are always, you know how to manage your emotions. So the other thing that I would say why introverts make good leaders is they are good listeners. Introverts know how to listen, and listening is one of the key to good leaders. So for me, 100% introverts are great leaders. Back to you, Adele.
But Marima, what's your view on leadership and introverts?
Yeah, I believe like they make really good leaders. And I was actually reading an article about this while I was preparing for today's talk. And a lot of it kind of, there was this one beautiful point. They said that earlier, before the corporate world kind of shifted dynamically, people used to think that introverts were good leaders. It's just because of the current shift where suddenly being charismatic, being a motivational speaker, being someone who's out there constantly communicating with their team. And I'm not saying that introverts don't communicate with their team, but someone who's constantly being in a space where they're engaging with everyone around them is considered to be the sign of a great leader. Suddenly, in that viewpoint, introverts stop being great leaders. But introverts are really, really, really great leaders because they are observant, they are great listeners. People don't feel any kind of any sense of danger. They don't feel threatened by an introvert because they feel like, we can approach this person. This person always listens to us, always considers what we are sharing, always is in a space where we can come together and find a middle path, right? So I feel like introverts are great leaders. We just need to kind of change how we look at leadership in general. Is leadership being outspoken? Is leadership being someone is a great leader, someone who's constantly engaging? Well, in that viewpoint, maybe not. But if you're looking at someone who can lead people, who can hold space for people, who can understand the person in their team, then maybe, yeah, I feel like introverts are great leaders.
Joyce Leroy, when we look at the qualities and the strengths of introverts, they are generally creative people. How do you think does that play into that leadership role, making them great leaders? Their creativity, what does that help people with in a situation, in a leadership situation?
So I'll start by giving examples of introverts that are leaders, by the way. And I saw it actually go through here. One of the facts about introverts. Some of the great leaders that are introverts, and being an introvert did not stop them from being the best of themselves and to the world. Abraham Lincoln, he's an introvert, but look at what he has done. There is Rosa Parks. There is Mahatma Gandhi. There is Bill Gates. The list is endless. And these people are creative. The thing about introverts is they take their time to do whatever they are going to do. And just like I said before, they do not like to speak much. So most of their content is put out on paper. They love to write. So when you love to write, you find yourself putting your creativity out there and you can actually see what you're putting out. So it's easier for you to even create more amazing things. So for me, One thing I'll say about introverts is the fact that they can have the mind of knowing that, you know what, speaking it doesn't mean it's going to come to life. But if I can write it, I can even put it more out to life. So I feel that is one quality about introvert. A fact about introverts is they talk less and write more, which makes them to become more creative. Back to you, Adele. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, I think you answered the question for all of us. And with that, it's going to lead me into my next question that we need to explore in a little bit deeper is being an introvert a weakness?
No. So being an introvert is not a weakness, but some people look at it as a weakness. So many people, just like the belief and the myth of introverts are shy. that is not very true, you know. It's a characteristics of antisocial people, basically, if I may say that. Introverts are not considered weak, though some people consider them that way. I agree with the statement because just like I mentioned, some leaders like Abraham Lincoln and Bill Gates, these are great leaders that served and showed us what it means. And some of us, we emulate them. So when someone says being an introvert is a weakness, I'm like, have you met those leaders, those amazing, incredible leaders, for you to say that? So when you're an extrovert, you're out there, and basically, I'm like I said before, I'm both an introvert and an extrovert. I can bubble out, I can be there and be a bubble, but I also want time to myself. When I have time to myself, sometimes my friends think there's something wrong. And back to that point, when people think you're introvert, they're like, that's a weakness. She can't talk. She is shy. Oh my God. Like, can she even say anything? But when you look at the leaders, like I said before, they mentioned the leaders, Rosie Parkers, when you look at all these leaders and read about them, there is nothing about them that shows weakness. So my point is, introverts do not have weaknesses. They have weaknesses, of course, because we are all humans, but it's not a weakness to be an introvert at all. Back to you, Adele.
But Marima, your thoughts on introverts being a weakness? What is your whether it's friendship, whether it's business, whether it's just generally in social activities? What is your thoughts on that?
I feel like for a long time, introvertism has been branded as a weakness, but it is not a weakness. And kind of piggybacking on what Joy said, I feel like there are a lot of great points about being an introvert, right? Like I was reading about this, and there is this aspect where introverts generally function from their parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what does this mean? Being functioning from your parasympathetic nervous system means that you're in a much more calmer, collected mind space. You are functioning from the logical aspect of life, right? You're not functioning from the sympathetic nervous system, which is a bit more of the fight, flight, or freeze response, or the survival response, right? You are actually being in a space where you're observing everything, where you're relaxed, where you're thinking about everything that's happening and then responding to it. So I feel like there are a lot of great points about introvertism. I feel like it's a really huge strength. It's about how we personally view it. Going back to what I was mentioning earlier, for a really long time I thought that being an introvert means that this sucks. Being an introvert is being shy. Being an introvert is not being out there. A lot of people didn't connect with me because I would rather set time watching my Korean dramas or reading my books or being an introvert in general. And so I stereotyped myself into what they were thinking. I was like, I am an introvert, I can't go out there and I can't connect with people, I can't speak to new people, I can't go out there and be the star of the party, right? So I stereotyped myself into being something like that. So I feel like a really important thing is to shift that mindset and understand that there are really great points about being an introvert. And if we accept it as a strength, it becomes a strength and it amplifies our own personal skills, it amplifies our personality, because at the end of the day, introvertism and extrovertism are simply personalities, right? Being shy, being someone who likes to spend time in quiet. These are all emotion, these are all characteristics. Being an introvert is a personality, and it doesn't need to kind of hold us back, it can empower us. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Thank you for Joyce Aloy and Marima for sharing that about a weakness. I personally also don't think it's a weakness. I think it's rather a strength, because you sit and you get to know people better. You do have that confidence to go out and speak, and that observation that you have, you get to know different people easier, and you can connect with them easier. And that's where I say it's not a weakness, because that connection that you can create and that acceptance for the other person as an introvert is really not a weakness. It's more strength for me. And bringing that conversations and connecting with people into the spectrum, do you think introverts are antisocial people? What Marie?
Yeah, I don't think they are antisocial people. I think that it once again falls down as to what do you mean by being social. If it is equal to what extroverts think of being social is, which is going out there and constantly being the life of the party, then maybe introverts are antisocial. But again, it's about finding your tribe, right? At the end of the day, it all boils down to that. If we find a tribe, we become the person who's out there connecting with everyone, speaking, having conversations. We become the epitome of being social. It's about finding your tribe, it's about finding the people that you are around with. If you put an introvert in a party where they don't know anyone, right, where they're simply like, oh my gosh, I have no idea who this person is, as a human being, I personally wouldn't go out there and start talking to people, because I'd be like, I hope someone introduces me to them, I hope someone tells me what to do, because I don't know what to do, I don't know any of these people. If I am in the same scenario, but I am put inside a party filled with people that I love, that I resonate with, that I connect with, or that I can have fun conversations with. Like, for example, if Adele, you and I were to meet randomly once in the blue moon somewhere out there in some space, maybe in a coaching hubs part, coaching mind party kind of a thing, I would go out there and I would speak to you, because I have seen you interact, I have seen you be active on social, and I like what your energy kind of gives off. So I would go out there and I would connect with you, right? But if it was something where I was like put in the middle of a stack, don't know anyone, I would be the epitome of antisocial human being, because I'd be like, I don't know who this person is, I don't know what to talk to them, someone help me out, right? In a moment like that, in a scenario like that, I would look for an extrovert to kind of balance it out, to kind of be like, hey, let me help you out. This is a person, this person likes XYZ, I know you like XYZ, I think you would be a great fit, have a conversation. Then I would go out there and I would have a conversation. But yeah.
Joyce Aloy,
Okay.
your view.
All right. I'll share my view in regards to unsocial. So I believe unsocial is a completely different, it has a different explanation, completely different from being an introvert. So unsocial is a person who constantly avoids company of others. That is not an introvert. An introvert doesn't do that. So an introvert enjoys the company of others. The only thing is they just sometimes want to be in control. So, for example, myself, the introvert me, when I go to a crowded environment, I first look around and look for who can associate well with me. And for me, I feel if someone called me unsocial because I'm an introvert, I would definitely say I am not, because unsocial people avoid, they do not want to interact with people. First of all, they don't text. Unsocial people, they don't text, they don't call. They are so unfriendly. Like if someone is unsocial and I'm saying this about them, I'm really sorry, but that is my belief and that is my research on who an unsocial person is. They are unfriendly and completely guarded. They are so protective of themselves. So, and that is completely different from who an introvert is. And I will go back to what we talked about, if an introvert is confident or not. An introvert is confident when they get to know you. They get deep conversations with you. And I'll also give an example of Adele. So if I met Adele in in, let me say, coaching hub, I'll give an example to them, I'd be excited to have conversations with her because I know her. I feel I know her. I haven't met her, but because of somehow we have the same mindset. And the time I've interacted with Adele, I love how she thinks. I love how she shares, and I love her. I love how smart she is. So if I'm out there, it's easy for me to interact with her. But also, if I didn't know Adele and I saw her, it would be easy for me to interact with her because she has a friendly face. Sometimes some people don't have friendly faces, so it becomes hard as an introvert to interact with them. So back to my point, introverts are not antisocial. They just want to get collected of who they are, to get to know the other person so that they can have deeper conversations and get to know them. Back to you, Adele.
Thanks, Joyce Lloyd. I actually just want to bring the antisocial part in again. Do you think because introverts really needs to energize by being alone, and that alone time builds their energy, do you think that relates to us or the general people feeling that they are antisocial?
Yeah, I feel
So-
like oh sorry, go ahead, Joyce.
No, it's fine. You can go fast. Go fast.
Well, I think that personally it's about where you find comfort in, right? Where you find energy from, where you find comfort in. So if this, for example, if this meeting was happening somewhere out there where I can easily go to, I wouldn't still go out there because I'd be like, I'm comfortable, I'm sitting in my pajamas, I'm in a space where I'm surrounded by family, I have my dogs playing around me, I am comfortable, and I can much more easily go out there and speak. I can speak with you guys through an online call, right? Like through an online video call. I feel like for me, this is being social. For someone else, that's not being social because for them, it's like, but Madhurima never leaves her house. Introverts never leave their house. For me, this is where I find my energy in. This is where I find comfort in. And so it comes down again to the perspective of what people think is being antisocial or not, right? It comes down to all of that. What do you guys think?
So, back to what I said before. I'm an introvert and extrovert. Like for me, I'm ambivert. And the part of me of an introvert is I love to recharge. And that is one thing about introverts. When they go out there and interact and do all that stuff, when they have their alone time, it is to recharge so that they become more creative. And it happens to me even just a few days ago when I came back from my holiday. I needed to recharge. So I took basically a day off just to recharge, be off social media and all that. So that doesn't mean I'm unsocial. If someone sends me messages and take long to reply, it doesn't make me unsocial. I just needed my me time, which I love and appreciate. And for those people who get to know me, know that I love that time to recharge. So when I say unsocial doesn't mean when you're introvert doesn't mean you're unsocial. Is I am just really selective of people I interact with because sometimes, like I said before, I do not like small talk, and small talks can be draining. That's my opinion. Small talks can be so draining. So I rather take my alone time, recharge, and get back to getting to give more to my friends and those that I love. Back to you, Adele.
I like your viewpoint that you've shared. That alone time, and it's one of the facts that Paul also brought up onto the system is that they like to be alone. They like the alone time because it's recharge. It's getting that energy back up. But that doesn't necessarily, like you say, it doesn't make them antisocial. But my question that I want to put to Madhurima as well is being in smaller groups, that is what introverts really rather prefer than the bigger groups. Is that not maybe why the perception is out there that introverts are antisocial because they like smaller groups and they don't like these big parties because it drains energy?
Yeah, I feel like that can be a huge reason why that perspective is out there. right? Like if an extrovert who loves to be in the bigger parties comes within the smaller party tribe, right, and then notices the introvert, they'll be shocked, they'll be like, what's happening here? We thought this person hardly ever came out, hardly ever had conversations. It's just the difference, and again it boils down to the perspective. Maybe it is the stereotyping of what being an introvert means. Maybe it's the stereotyping of, here's a box, this box is labeled introverts, we're going to put everyone in there based on our perspectives, and this is what you're supposed to do. But then if you notice these introverts in their own world, you see them shine and you're like, ah, we were terribly mistaken. And for a really long time, probably the introverts within the box were also terribly mistaken about who they were as individuals. I feel like what you mentioned, Adele, it can be the truth based on how we have been interacting for a really long time and how introverts still prefer to interact to this day and age. Can be a reason why that perspectives out there that are there antisocial.
I
So
think that just like
okay, I'll just add on what Madhurima has shared. Is I feel introverts are considered antisocial in groups because they prefer one-on-one conversations. One person who loves one-on-one conversations. Groups are good. I love groups because you get to know and learn from other people. But that also is where I lay back a bit so that I get to know the people that I'm in the group with, so that it's easy for me to give them deeper conversations and get deeper conversations from them. But on a normal day to day, I would prefer a one-on-one conversation because then I would feel like that person is understanding me on a deeper level. With us in groups, it's competition. Everyone wants to talk, everyone wants to get to be known, everyone. So if I'm in a group of around a group of people that are really laid back, or a group of people who are at the same level thinking with me, it's easy for me to interact with them and get to know them while they get to know me. So I don't think at the end of the day that makes me an antisocial. I just want to get to know the people I am around and they get to know who I am exactly. But most introverts I've met, they prefer one-on-one conversations because they want to get to know you much better. Back to you, Adele.
just like you touched on a very important point today for me is in smaller groups you or bigger groups you tend to pull back and you start observing and you start to getting to really know and understand people there. For me, that again is the strength of an introvert, is that observation skills and really getting to in the background understand those people better, and then you can make a better connection with that person or with the people in that group. Marima, what's your views on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's I agree. I don't think there's anything more I can add on to what you mentioned, Adele. I think that just caveated the entire conversation really well for me. The entire point that we made. Yeah.
Joyce Lloyd, do you have something to add to that conversation, to that point?
Yeah, to that point, I'll add that as ambivert, I prefer and 100% prefer the one-on-one conversations, but when I'm in the groups, because I love to know people and interact, I always lay back a bit to get to know them. And I think that's the introvert part of me, of being an ambivert, that comes out because I'm one person who wants to have real relationships and friendships other than just having a lot of friends or group friends that don't add anything to me. So I'll repeat it once again. Introverts are really friendly and they want to know you before getting to really call you a friend.
Thank you for sharing that. I just want to quickly go around and ask Matt Marima and then Joyce Aloy, your final message that you want to bring across in today's conversation, in the celebration, and really creating that awareness of strengths of the introverts.
I don't mind going first. I feel like for introverts out there who are watching this, just know that you are amazing human beings and you get to decide what kind of person you are. At the end of the day, we are simply having a conversation based on our own perspectives and our own journeys, our own thought processes, right? You get to decide what kind of a person you are. If you want to be a leader, figure out what being a leader means and know that those skills already exist within you. Have a deep meaningful conversation about who you are, what are your amazing skills, what does being a particular way mean to you, right? What does being weak mean to you? We mentioned this, we had this conversation around, is introvertism a weakness? Well, what does weakness look like to you? What does strength look like to you? Once you are, and a huge shout out to introverts, because we are extremely self aware. We have that thought process. We are constantly observing, constantly making notes in our mind. We are constantly seeing what this particular thing means to us. Shift that perspective inside, which a lot of us already do. We are very self reflective. Shift that perspective within and actually think about what these different things mean for you as an individual. We have been doing it for a really long time for the outside world. Get that perspective within, and then notice who you are as a human being and celebrate that. I feel like we need to learn to celebrate all the amazing things that we have. For a really long time it was like, oh, I love to spend alone time and that must mean that I am bad. Well, no, I love to spend alone time because even when I'm alone, I can recharge myself, I can give energy back to myself, I can love myself, I can learn to love the different things that are happening within me. And so that is important to me as a human being. I feel like, yeah.
All right, so I'll share a few facts, if it's okay, about introverts. So some of the facts I'm going to share about introverts is they love to recharge by spending time alone. Another fact is introverts think before acting. They really go into thinking. That's why when they lay back, they are thinking before they act, before they say, oh, I am your friend. They want to take time to see how you act, how you speak, if they can actually relate with you. The other thing is introverts listen more. They listen a lot because they want to know if they can actually connect and have meaningful conversations with you. Introverts are more social beings around people they know. And just like Majroon Sheikh shared before, if she met Adele, she'd be so excited to interact with her because she knows her already. So that's a very, very big characteristic among introverts. The introverts enjoy one-on-one conversations. That is a no doubt. Introverts prefer writing to talking. So when you meet an introvert, just know she or he is going to write a book about you. So my last part about introvert, and shout out to introverts today, because I'm one, an ambivert. I refuse to be labeled because I can both be an introvert and extrovert depending on where I am. So be who you are. That is one thing I'm going to say about introverts out there. Be who you are, because no one can be you. You are unique. You are special. Be who you are out there for who you are and for not anyone else. That's all I could share about introverts. Otherwise, happy introvert day today. Back to you, Adele.
Thank you so much, Matmarima and Joycelyn, for your beautiful words. And I just want to bring out and really celebrate introverts for all the strengths that we've briefly touched on in the session today. That awareness that we've created, that people are starting to really understand introverts from a different perspective, and really getting to know the facts behind the introverts. And with that, I'm going to ask Paul to jump back on, because he's got a big gift that he wants to give and wants to discuss with everyone listening. And I want to thank everyone for their participation today. Joyce Eloy, Matmarima, everyone that watched live, those on the replays, leave your comments, and really just start engaging and keep engaging with us. And thank you all for being here.
Magic trick there with the mute. That's the perks of being in the background. So thank you so much, Adele. I just want to say, before I jump in and share what we've got in store at Coaching Minds, I want to say a huge thank you to the three of you for an absolutely wonderful session. Now, we're talking about introverts, leadership, strengths of introverts. And I know, Joyce, you shared that you're an ambivert, but you talked a lot about as an introvert as part of it as well. I know Madhurima and Adele are introverts. So technically, you just had a session led with lots of positive energy by three introverts. So hopefully just the session alone has tackled a lot of their myths, some interesting percentages that came back from our survey. So a huge thank you to you guys. If you want to connect with these, you can find Madhurima, Joyce Aloy, and Adele inside our hub. You can find their coaching rooms. You can connect with them. If you want to learn more from them, please reach out, drop them a message on social media and connect with them. They're absolutely fantastic. What a wonderful session. I really enjoyed sitting in the back and listening to your guys' wisdom, your thoughts and perspectives. It's been really, really great. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you, Paul.
So I'd just like to share. So we asked a lot of people, thank you to everybody who's tuned in as well. There's lots of good engagement, lots of comments coming through. We've seen Charmaine, we've seen Jane, we've seen Adrian, we've seen Charles earlier on. Lots of engagement coming through from people who are tuned in. So please, if you are tuned in, let's give some, Rahul was tuned in, Lakshmi, let's give some love to these three amazing humans. Put it in the drops. Let's say thank you for them taking their time. Madhurima, thank you so much for the facts as well. So the facts that were put up were pulled together from Madhurima. Adele has published an amazing article in our hub. So if you want to learn about the different types of introvert, go and check out Adele's article in the hub. And thank you, Joyce Aloy, for your wisdom today. Some really, really good thoughts shared there, especially on that ambivert as well. So absolutely amazing session. So what we want to do, if you don't know whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, later today, tonight, it will be available tomorrow. If you want to wait till tomorrow, we are launching our MBTI discovery course. So Myers-Briggs Type Identifier course. So it's going to be just 3 lessons. It's free for you to join. We've partnered up with 16 personalities, so you can take the test. You can see what your personality type is. You can connect with other people that have the same personality types. We've linked it so you can hashtag what your personality type is and engage with the people of the same. You can share facts. You can learn a lot more about yourself. Remember that introversion and extroversion is a preference. And when you're listening to this talk, when you listen to this conversation, you might find at times you're an extrovert, at times you're an introvert. But, you know, it's dependent, as the ladies have mentioned today, it's dependent on the environment and where you are. And when we look at whether we're an introvert or an extrovert, it's our dominant preference. So which one is it that dominates our personality trait? So you can check out this. Please join our hub. There'll be a notification and launch later today, so you can access that. You can engage with other people and you can learn through your MBTI. So thank you so much. There's lots of love coming in for you guys here. Everyone's saying thank you. So thank you, everybody. Jane saying thank you. Charles is saying thank you for a lovely session. Lots of wonderful people in, lots of great people tuning in. Thank you so much. And if you are watching on the replay, if you've got any questions for these ladies, please drop them in the comments box below and they will get back to you. The replay will be available in our hub and also on our social media channels. And you can also get access to it in the additional materials on the course. Madhurima, you want to jump in and say something? I seen you came off mute there.
I know, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for giving me this opportunity, for allowing an introvert to go out there and talk a bit more about what being an introvert is all about, and for sharing my perspective. And I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who jumped in.
No, thank you, Madhurima. I really appreciate that. I'm sure everybody else appreciates it. And I know we had a discussion before. You know, I'm an extrovert, so I kind of just fall onto the extrovert side of things. But I appreciate introverts. I honestly think introverts are really, really strong people. And I know we've talked about it behind the scenes, guys, but one of the big strengths that introverts have is they have the ability to go and take themselves out on dates, take themselves out on their own. They're comfortable to go for a coffee by themselves, to go to a restaurant by themselves and have a meal, go to the cinema. That is a strength that extroverts can really struggle with. So learn from our introverts, learn from fellow extroverts, learn from ambiverts, and, you know, let's not use these, Charmaine mentioned earlier on, let's not use these labels to, you know, apart our ways and not associate with each other. Because it was interesting, we had 30% of people think that introverts are antisocial. And I could bet my life savings that those 30% of people are extroverts. I guarantee we don't have an introvert that has said that they're antisocial. So let's not let this divide us, let this unite us, and let's learn about each other's preferences so we can share the best energy we can, both here in Coaching Minds, inside what we do here, but outside in our personal life as well. So keep an eye out for the MBTI Discovery course that'll be launched later tonight. It'll be late in UK time, so around about 8 o'clock UK time. There is a challenge today, so there's a challenge in our hub for you to take part in. There's some articles and some posts. Go and check out what we've been doing today. And if you want to engage with these ladies, go and find them and drop them a message. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you, Adele, for facilitating a wonderful session. And thank you, Matt Harina and Coach Joyce Shaloi, for your wonderful insights. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Speak soon.